What's up, party people on Facebook? I got the man, Anthony Manzon, in the house today with me today. What's going on, brother?
What's up, Derrick? Thanks for having me on.
See you,
it has definitely been way too long since I've last been on here. It's been how long?
Way too long. This is too long. A year and change or something like that.
Over
ridiculous.
a year, so I'm glad to be back.
Today we're dropping serious knowledge.
Yes.
I've got facts upon facts upon facts. We've got data, we've got graphs. We're talking about the waiting buyer today, man. So, in the mortgage industry, NMLS 155010, full disclosure. I talk to a lot of buyers.
Yep.
There are a lot of people who are kind of like, we're trying to decide whether we want to pull the trigger or whether we want to wait a year, extend our lease for one more year, or wait until prices come down. And this is a conversation that I keep having and keep having and keep having.
Yeah.
And so, the typical thought process of buying something is always that I want to get it for the lowest price. That's what people want. Yeah. However, the thought process that waiting means lower price is where the question mark comes in. Mm-hmm. Will it pay off? And so a lot of people ask me about the market. Do you think it's going to go down? Do you think we'll see a correction? Do you believe that now's a better time to buy than a year from now or 2 years from now?
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to say. With real estate, the only thing that we know is that over long periods of time, it goes up.
Long term, it always does.
It goes up. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason for that. This is a macro piece, and I want everyone to know this, to share this information with your friends. Supply and demand is a simple equation. There's a limited amount of earth. There's an exponential growing population.
Yep.
So there's an exponential need for housing and a limited amount of it. Limited amount of ground.
Mm-hmm. Especially in desired spots like San Diego.
And this is the best spot on that planet.
It really is.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I've been everywhere. I haven't found a better one.
Yeah, for sure.
So what you're attaching yourself to in buying that and investing in that is the greatest macro situation working in your favor. Mm-hmm. And we can see that in the graph that we're going to look at today. So let's just throw this up there. Let's get this in.
Let's get that bad boy up there.
Throw it up. All right.
Woo.
Now this is from, we're going to get a little PIP in there. There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See how technical we are? You thought it was a high
graph.
school production.
Nope.
But look at this. I'm weathermanning it today. It's green like my jacket, too. So this is from the Union Tribune. Actually, the data comes from CoreLogic. I got it from Daniel Wheaton there's got the credit from the UT who posted this in an article that was late last year. And you can see the most recent data. They look at this stuff quarterly on just home prices.
Yep.
Now, what you can see there is the crash, right? The crash takes place, right here. Boom. That's the crash.
Yep.
This guy. That was painful. Mm-hmm. Now, I experienced that in the mortgage industry. I lived through that, watched that take place, and it was ugly. But there's a couple things that we need to understand because a lot of people believe that what has happened since this right here is just leading to another one of these guys, right? Let's look at some of the realities from this standpoint, Anthony, and then we'll bring this to present day. When you look at what was happening in June 2005, and by the way, this is just when the median price hit $500,000 for the first time. So this isn't the exact top of the market. You can see it went up a little bit, kind of chopped here, and then,
And you explained to me, just so the viewers know, that was a big deal when it hit 500,000. Like median price in San Diego, that was a big deal, and that's why we have it referenced there.
It was a very big deal, and that was why, they put it in this graph because when it hit 500,000, it was the front page of the paper. Everybody was going bonkers. People couldn't believe it was $500,000 to buy a house in San Diego. That was the median price. Yeah. The median. There was $500,000. Everyone went nuts and said, "This is ridiculous." And you know what? If they sold their home at that time, they were right. Okay, they were. Mm-hmm. But the question is, when do you buy again? Mm-hmm. And how long did they wait? Were they not convinced when it got to here to buy? And they said, let's buy it a little bit lower. Let's wait till it comes back down. Mm-hmm. At what point do you re-enter? It's called catching the falling knife if you're on the buy side. If it's called, I don't know what you call it when you're on the sell side, but how do you know when to re-enter? And so what I did was I did some quick calculations here. And this just shows you, okay, how much from that point in June of 2005 when the median price was at $500,000 until November 2019, which by the way, it's higher, even higher than that now. How much did homes actually go up average per year? And this includes the crash. $6,785. So over that 14-year period, if you had passed on buying in June of 2005, you look like a genius. Come January 2009, you look like you know what you're doing and nobody else does. But you still would have had to save net $6,785, almost $7,000. You would have had to save that net to be in the same position, the same purchasing circumstance in November 2019 with prices almost 100,000 higher.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, if you look at the bottom in January of 2009, when the median price reached $280,000, this is so
almost
bonkers.
Half. Yeah.
Anthony, I was on the radio at this time screaming at people to buy real estate. Screaming every day.
Wow.
You guys have got to take notice and buy real estate. I did that and all the way through 2012. Was screaming on the radio daily about this. And if you had bought or passed on buying down at that time, then you would need to save net to over $29,000 a year in order to be in the same place for purchasing power as you were in November 2019 with the median at 594.
Yeah. So just to clarify that also too, I mean, this is an amazing graph because $29,251 is what Derrick is saying you have to save every single year since the bottom of the market just to be at that same place. And let's be real. If you didn't buy a house and you're renting right now and you thought about it in 2009, think to yourself, let's be real, did you really save $29,000 every single year from 2009 to now?
10 years.
10 years, yes. 10 years, I mean. So 10 years, $29,000. That means if you did and you were renting, you need to have $300,000 liquid in your bank account to make up for not buying at that time.
Correct.
That's crazy because also I heard a stat too that 8 out of 10 people live paycheck to paycheck. And
I think it's more than that.
I wouldn't be surprised. I kind of gave a little bit of a lower number, and yet if if 8 out of 10 are living paycheck to paycheck, how are they able to save $29,000 consistently every single year for 10 years straight?
That's the hard part. That's the hard part about waiting in a place like San Diego where you know it's desirable. Now, Robert, who's commented here, thank you for your comment, Robert, because I forgot about that. But what I wanted to point out was in June 2005, and really all through 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, all through the crash, until after that happened, until down here, rents were super low. So I remember looking at buying a house in Escala, Mission Valley.
Wow.
And it was $700,000.
What year was that?
This is 2005 or 6.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. So right around that time. It was about $700,000 and some dollars.
Dang.
And then I looked in the same complex at the same floor plan. Wasn't quite as nice, but it was very similar. And it was renting for $1,850.
Wow. That's crazy.
So that was the thing that kept me from pulling the trigger. I was like, I just don't know how I can make sense of this. I'm buying it. I'm putting all this money down. I have this huge payment where I could test drive it over here for $1,850. Rents were very, very low at this point in time because everyone was buying.
Yeah.
Everyone had the ability to buy because of the liquid market. But we do not have that today over here. We do not have low rents. We have a very high rent environment. And that is the cushion. That is the backbone. That is the thing that keeps the market propelled, because when you don't have that, you're on thin ice, and that was proven back in the day when people are looking at their living situation and going, gosh, we can rent a great house for a cheap price. What are we doing? When they see prices going down, it's very easy for them to bail.
Yeah.
When you don't have that option, when you look at it and go, it's going to be so expensive for us to rent, are you sure we want to give up on this house? That's the situation we have today.
Yeah.
So those are two very different kitchen table conversations that someone might be having, even if they're unsatisfied or overwhelmed with their mortgage payment or whatever it may be. Maybe someone loses a job, whatever. They have to really take a hard look at it, because that house has made them money. If they've bought it, I mean, look at what's happened here.
If you bought from anywhere
Look at this.
January 2009 and later, you've definitely made money. And the crazy thing is, if you didn't buy in that time, you pretty much had like a 10-year window to buy, and you would be appreciating at this point. From January 2009, let's just say all the way up to 2018, that's a 9-year window. You've made some money.
Yeah.
You know, if you would have bought in that time frame, of course, they're closer to January 2009, the better, the more equity you made.
Yeah, I mean, really all the way through 2012 was a great opportunity to buy, and prices really shot up after that. as the economy stabilized and we sort of got over the global crisis, everything got sorted out, the bankruptcies, the companies that had to close and all that stuff. So one of my favorite memes, I should have pulled it up, is the skeleton looking out the window, and it says buyers waiting for the market to correct.
Yeah.
And it's like that's really the question is, what is the cost to wait? So when is it okay to rent? I will tell you this. It is okay to rent as long as you have a home ownership strategy. So if you're waiting to buy, that's okay. But what I've shown you here is that regardless, you still need to be saving money towards your purchase, because you have to at least try to keep up with the appreciation of the market. If you're waiting to buy and you're not saving additional money, what's going to happen is every time you go back and look, you're going to see the market has gotten more expensive. If you went to Macy's and you saw a shirt that you liked and it was $30 and you said, you know what, I'm not going to get it today, just not the right time. Next time I come, I'll get it. You come back the next time and it's $35. It gets harder and harder to buy it because in your mind it's worth $30.
Yeah.
And that's what you see happen with, unfortunately, with buyers that wait, is that they get psychologically kind of screwed up over the marketplace because they go, no, that house should be only worth $500. Well, it's worth $625 now.
Yeah, and then they keep waiting, and then they keep waiting, and they get so far behind. I mean, I'm sure you hear it all the time. For me, as a real estate agent, the number one thing people say is, I want to wait. I want to save more money for my down payment. And I ask them, okay, what's your goal to save? And like, if I could just save $5,000 more, then I'm ready to buy. And I say, okay, well, on average, how long will it take you to save $5,000? They say, you know what? I'll be ready in about a year and a half. And I think to myself, yes, you're saving that $5,000, and yet the market is going to surpass the amount of money that you can save to get that $5,000. So you're almost in a worse spot buying in a year or year and a half from now, even though you're looking to save that money and you think you're better off in the short run.
One more thing. And Robert, this is along the lines of what you mentioned there. We talked about, the rents. It would be great to have a rent overlay graph. I agree with you. Unfortunately, this high school production does not have that kind of budget.
We will, though.
One of these days.
And ask the principal.
But I will tell you this. I did look this up, and I do have the information on mortgage rates. So if you look back at June of 2005, and this is according to the St. Louis Fed, all right, so I'm going with the St. Louis Fed. In June 2005, the average mortgage rate was 5.63%. So the average mortgage rate was
5.5 almost.
Yeah, a little over 5.5%.
Okay.
5 5/8. In January of 2009, at that bottom point there, the average mortgage rate was 5.125%. So 5 1/8.
Okay.
So both 5.5 to 5% was the range between June 2005 and January 2009. So today, or the most recent rendering, which is February 6th, by the St. Louis Fed, the average mortgage rate was 3.45%.
Holy.
So again, you have to look at what the difference is between a 3.45% on $594,000 versus the 5.6% on the $500,000. I'd be willing to bet you, and I'm a guy who should have this calculation already done.
I know where you're going, and this is so true.
I will do it. Which one? Let's play this game, Anthony.
What's up?
Which one is the cheaper principal and interest payment if I calculate it? I want you to guess. I need a guess from you.
I mean, the cheaper one, and let's set it up now. $500,000 purchase price at 5.6 interest rate versus, which is the lower principal and interest, $594,445 at, what'd you say again?
3.45%.
3.45. Logically, you almost want to say, well, the lower purchase price, it's almost $100,000 less. It's only 2% difference. Like, logically, you think it's that, but I'm almost willing to bet all my money it's on the one that's $100,000 more.
He said almost willing to bet all his money. Yeah. I just want almost ready to bet all of it.
Yeah, it's just like it's so $100,000 more. It's just 2%. That doesn't sound like a lot, right? For $100,000 cash. Let's see what that actually turns out to you, because that's a big number right there.
Let's see what it is. Okay.
Derek's calculating that, so.
I've got it calculated.
Ooh.
The calculation is done. So.
All right, let's see it.
5.625% on $500,000. The payment is $2,880 per month.
$2,880. So that's the first one. 500,000, 5.6, 28,000. 2,800.
Yep, $2,880 would be the payment.
All right.
Now, if we move over to the other side, which we're going to call today, 594. This is actually probably higher than this now here in February, but we're
Yeah.
just going with November information. At 594,455 at 3.45%, the average rate according to the St. Louis Fed as of February 6th, the payment would be $26.53.
Wow.
You made all your money. Dude.
Yeah.
How
Dude, I was
about
actually
that?
scared for a second. That's a $200 difference, though.
I'm
I'm actually surprised.
I know.
That's the $200 difference.
$230.
That's a lot. I mean,
So what? And so that's I think the reality
Yeah.
that we have to look at here is that obviously what would have been best in this situation if we had had the crystal ball in 2005 would have been to buy in 2005 and continue to hold and own your property, because now it'd be worth more money, but more importantly, you're halfway through the mortgage.
yeah.
That's the big thing. That's the big right here is if you bought in 2005, here we are in 2020, your mortgage is halfway done.
Yeah. That's amazing. Imagine 15 years from now having no mortgage.
Done.
That's amazing.
You have a paid off house. You're good to go. That's the whole point of this thing. We want you to have a paid off home. I don't just want you to buy a home. I want you to pay it off.
That's the goal.
That's the freedom that everyone deserves. That's the American dream. The American dream isn't to have a mortgage. I get it. The American dream is to have a paid off house that's yours. In order to do that, though, you got to get in the game.
Yeah. And also look at this. I mean, sorry to interrupt. Think about this. June 2005. We're somewhat median of the market, 500,000. We go down January 2009, going all the way back up November 2019. If you didn't buy at any one of those times within the past 14 years, as long as you kept the house, kept your job, and all that good stuff, you're suffering from FOMO right now.
Big time.
You're just the fear of missing out. You should have bought at that time, even at the very peak of the market, when the prices were at its highest. If you would have bought at that time, kept your job, kept the house, whatever it was, you'd be making money at this point.
A lot of money.
What's the negative, though? So let's look at the negative part of that. Let's say you rented in June 2005, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to wait for the market to go down, or I'm just going to wait to buy. Let's say, what would we say is a fair average rent? $2,500?
Oh man, I don't know what you can get for $2,500 as a house.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a house that's worth $500,000,
Yeah.
most likely your rent is
$3,000?
knocking on $3,000
Okay,
door.
so let's be very conservative, and let's just say $2,500, just so that they can get the idea of where we're going
Okay,
with this.
$2,500 is.
$2,500. Derrick, you're the math guy. Pull up the calculator.
You got it.
2,500 times 12, because that's 12 months in a year. 30,000. So from $30,000 every single year from June 2005, so at 30,000 times 15 years.
Oh boy, this is gonna get big quick.
It's gonna get big.
450 G's.
450,000. So the cost of FOMO from June 2005 all the way up to now is 450,000. That's in the negative. No matter what, you know you're negative
It's
because
wasted.
you paid somebody else's rent. At least by buying a property, you have the opportunity for appreciation and the opportunity to pay down your mortgage and live that American dream of no mortgage.
Yeah.
So 450 is crazy.
The things that you miss out on. So yeah, the property, the price fluctuations. So let's look at the purchase side again, because again, we're advocating for long-term home ownership here. That's what
Yes.
we're advocating for. We're not telling you to buy houses in 2012 and sell them in 2013 to make $100,000, because there's so much more to be made than that. But we're advocating for long-term home ownership. So we're talking about buying at what was the worst time in history prior to a global economic collapse that was caused by real estate and mortgage in the United States. If you had bought then, what would have your existence been like? What would the benefits have been? What would the downsides have been? Well, the downsides would have just been that while you were living in the house, if you checked the estimate on a regular basis, you would see that it has gone down. That's it. That would have been your only downside. Because the reality is, while you're living in the house, it doesn't matter what it's worth. It only matters what it's worth when you go to sell it.
Yeah.
If you go to sell it. That's the only time it matters, except for your taxes. If you bought in June of 2005, guess what happened to real estate taxes during this crash? What happened on the down leg of this to real estate taxes? It went down dramatically.
Yeah.
So guess what? You're escrowing, you're impounding your taxes and insurance into your mortgage payment. Your mortgage payment, even on a fixed rate loan, is going down this whole time.
Wow, I didn't even consider that. That's
It's
huge.
going down. So yeah, your payment's actually going down, and you're paying principal, and you're deducting interest on your taxes.
Yep.
So you have multiple things going for you, while this loss, what it looks like is a loss, is a paper loss, because your house is still the same. By the way, while the value's going down, the walls don't crumble down. Spiders don't invade the house. Everything stays the same. The house has no idea what it's worth. So you would have enjoyed principal pay down, You would have enjoyed reduced taxes, therefore a reduced payment. And you would have just had to, and you would have enjoyed your home, just as if it had gone doubled in value the next day after you bought it, right? As long as you're living there, it doesn't matter. And what would have happened now is you'd be halfway done paying your mortgage.
And that's the financial benefit of owning a property. Like, what are the emotional benefits of owning from that time? Number one, I think, is consistency. Every renter hates that moment when the landlord says, you know what, I'm thinking about selling the property. Well, what happens then? You have to find a new place to move to. You have to rent. You got to get into all that crazy stuff again. You're kind of forced your way out. So, like, there's the emotional consistency that you get. And then, in addition, you have the home ownership benefits. You can paint the walls the way you want. You can upgrade the house the way you want. It's kind of like when you know that this is your house, you're more vested into it. You take care of it. A good example is, for me, I've been always leasing my car the past 6 years, and you know, I took care of it, and yet I didn't take care of it as if I were to buy the car, which I just bought one a couple months ago.
Got a Tesla.
I did. I got a Tesla,
Welcome
man.
to the club, man.
Thank you. I didn't get a Tesla.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Dang. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm in the
Awesome.
club now.
Yeah.
It's different. Like when I would accidentally scratch my rim on the BMW, which I was leasing. I love that car. I'm like, dang it. And yet I have lease insurance. They'll take care of that. Now, when you own a car, same thing as a house, you have to pay for it and you take care of it. You just drive a little bit more carefully.
Right.
And you have more pride in it. You can paint it the way you want, upgrade it, put the wheels on you want. So for houses, you get that consistency in addition to all the financial stuff you just said.
Did you get the free supercharging?
You know what, I didn't, because I bought a used one because I had to have it in 2019 for tax purposes. So the tax guy told me December 28th, yeah, you're going to need to go buy a Tesla. So I'm like, all right, what's the wait list? It was about a 6-month wait. They're like, you're not getting it until May. So I'm like, what about used? They're like, I'll have it to you in 3
I got a
days.
used one too.
Yeah, and
That's
plus,
awesome.
I only had 800 miles on it, and I got like a $3,000 discount. And if smelled brand new, it felt exactly the same as getting a brand new one.
There's a charger right down the road here, by the way. Did you know
Seriously?
that?
I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
Qualcomm. Yeah, it's like you could walk there. It's like half a mile from here.
And I did a supercharger for my first time. I drove to LA, came back. I'm sad to say I couldn't get there in one trip on the Tesla that I had. And yet the experience on supercharging a Tesla is like amazing. You just show up, don't pull out credit cards, you don't have to do anything. Just put it in.
Plug it in, go walk through the mall, grab a Starbucks.
Yeah, in 30 minutes, it charged an extra like 120 miles for me.
That's
so
awesome.
like, hey, amazing.
Little Tesla ad. You're welcome, Elon.
Yep, you're welcome.
So reasons to buy are very simple.
Yes.
Long-term financial stability.
Yep.
Right? You get equity pay down, principal pay down, equity appreciation opportunity. You know, your home can appreciate, it can depreciate. We see both on this graph, right? You see both. But over long periods of time, we know which direction it goes because of the macro implications. Remember, supply and demand. There's a exponentially growing population. There is a limited amount of housing, a limited amount of earth, a limited amount of land. Therefore, over long periods of time, real estate has to go higher. And we've seen that consistently since the beginning of time. Even after this horrible collapse, which was just a decade ago, we're already flying way higher now than we were before the collapse.
Yeah.
So it just shows you that how relentless those macro implications are when you talk about socioeconomics.
Yeah, and that's assuming, I think everybody is also thinking like, is now the right time to buy? Should I buy now or should I wait? They're thinking that there's a crash coming. You know, they're thinking that, okay, there was a crash before. For a lot of people, they didn't experience that crash. Maybe if, you know, for me, I didn't experience the crash. I wasn't in real estate at that time. And for the people that were in real estate, all they know, if you survive multiple cycles, is you think, okay, every time the market goes up, it crashes down after, because that's their perspective. That's all they know. And is it going to be a crazy crash like that this time? I don't think so. Could I be wrong? Yes. We don't know. And yet that's like worst case scenario. Crash. Everyone lost their jobs. Unemployment levels were all-time high. Yeah, it was global. It was crazy. Is the market going to go down? Yes. It's not of a matter of if, it's when. And yes. However, I don't think it's going to be like that steep and that crazy. That's with the type of loans that they were giving out at that time.
Yeah, there's things that are so much different now.
Yeah.
But even if it does, you can see what happens. I mean, it's it just creates opportunity. So hopefully, and a lot of people now, it's fresh in their minds. So if the market did crash, there would be a lot of people ready to buy. There's a lot of people on the sidelines, those waiters, right? They're the ones who are going to essentially be there to buy and support a falling market. We've seen that happen with with investors as well.
Yeah.
Investors ready to pull the trigger when those types of things happen. So I do also have something I want to announce. Fresh announcement.
Oh.
This is new. This
Okay.
is something that I've been working on for a couple of years.
Wow.
And what it is the show Fixer Upper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the show Fixer Upper, Chip and Joanna, they've changed everything in real estate, the way people look at the home buying process and the renovation process. And I've been wanting to try to bring that possibility to people here in San Diego for a long time. And
Uh-oh. Here we go.
it's happening.
Dang!
It's happening. It's happening. So what we're doing is, and it's not for TV, it's not something that we're trying to necessarily glamorize. We're trying to provide a solution. So I've partnered with one of the best home renovators in San Diego to provide home buyers with the opportunity to say, okay, hey, I want to buy a house, but I want it to be brand new, and I want it to be finished the way I want it. I want it to be modern. I want it to be like new construction. I want it to be set up the way we want it to be set up. But I have a $600,000 budget, or I have a whatever. You know, I have a normal buyer budget where I'm in competition with these listings that are hitting the market that look good all the time, and it's crazy, and I just don't know how to get through. My partners in this organization, what we're going to do is we're going to help people buy that fixer-upper, fix it up to their taste,
Wow.
and have them as the buyer ready to go when it's finished.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a complete game changer for people out there who are looking to buy and who have been wanting to find a great home, and been wanting to build a home that is exactly what they want, but maybe they don't have the cash to go try to buy something for cash and then fix it up and deal with 2 mortgages and just all the things that go along with that. This is going to be the solution for them, and I'm hoping we'll be able to help hundreds of people.
That's amazing.
Do this.
That's
this year.
game changing. That really is game changing, because for a lot of buyers, especially in this market when prices are at an all-time high, they go in, they almost put all the money that they have into just acquiring the property, and then they have to live in it without the construction because they just can't afford it. And so for you guys, you've created a solution for them to buy the property and almost renovate it for them.
Yep.
So they can just move straight into it and afford it in a way that makes it convenient for them, so they're not like breaking the bank on the first buy and having to live inside a property that maybe they have to live, you know, step by step. And I will say, in November, my wife and I, we bought a house, same thing construction wise. We bought it, we pretty much renovated the entire thing, and then we moved straight in after the renovation. And I talked to so many different people that didn't have the means to do that, and they were like, you guys are so lucky that you did all the construction before moving in, because for a lot of people, it is so hard to renovate a house while they're living there. The dust, I didn't even know.
So hard.
When I saw the construction, like, you know, we bought the house, the room got floor. You can't even walk in the front door, and they're just doing flooring, or they're doing kitchen, or even painting cabinets. Like, you have to eat out all the time because it's unlivable.
It's very difficult. And you have to have the cash. And so we're actually trying to make this available even specifically for VA buyers.
Oh, wow.
So my renovation company is owned by a veteran, Marine veteran, and he wants to help veterans because there's a lot of veterans who are having a really hard time getting offers through and things like that right now in this market. And we want to create an opportunity where we can essentially build a home for them, and then they can use their VA home loan benefit to buy it with no money down, do the 100% loan, 100% financing, and get the home.
Wow.
So it's a really cool process. There are, there's paperwork involved, and you have to commit to it, and so forth. But it's just a really cool thing that I'm super excited to bring to the marketplace this year.
Man, if I would have known, shoot, I would have done that. I mean, I would have worked with you guys to get it renovated and bought. It just makes too much sense. And because also one thing that we don't consider is, like, if you don't go through the program, like, you have the contractors, you have the people that can do it, and you guys know the prices. The hard part for us was, who's going to do it? Interview a bunch of different people. What kind of renovation could we do? Like, you have all the people to make that happen. It's
all
just
there.
The one-stop shop.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Super, super cool. We're
That's
calling
huge.
it Generation Renovation.
Ooh.
Because there's a whole generation of people who've grown up watching Chip and Joanna and Fixer Upper and similar shows, and they want that. They want to be able to buy a house that has potential in the right location for them, and then build it out the way that they want it.
Yeah.
So Generation Renovation.
That's
Super
cool.
Oh, man. Anthony, I think we crushed this.
We did.
This is super educational. This graph, if you would like a copy of this information or information on this article, just reach out to me, let me know. I'm happy to provide it to you, no problem. If you have questions about buying a home, you can contact me as well at the number that's been on the screen pretty much the whole time. Anthony Manzon is a terrific realtor as well. If you have questions about real estate, you can reach out to him. We'll put his number. His DRE is 01938863. I want to make sure I get that in this video.
Yes, you do. Oh, and real quick, you guys, before we sign out, I know I haven't done the best job in terms of telling the story of our team and our company and all that, and so this is the year that we're going to take over social media. So if you're not following me already on Facebook or Instagram, Anthony Manzon, come watch the behind the scenes, see the story happen, see our success stories, see our wins, our losses, our failures. We're being open, transparent, showing what it looks like to sell real estate here in San Diego.
That's awesome, man.
That's cool.
Thank you so much. Good
Derrick,
to see you, brother.
Appreciate you, bud. Thanks for
Hey,
everything.
share this with your friends. Let's help make them smarter than everyone else. See you soon.